Success will depend, now as ever, on freedom, openness and pluralism. The formula that not only emancipates the human spirit, but releases the boundless ingenuity and inventiveness of mankind, and which, above all, the United Kingdom will strive to preserve and advance.
No Prime Minister wants to enact measures like this. No one wants to be imposing these kinds of measures anywhere. No one wants to impose these kinds of, least of all me, wants to impose these kinds of restrictions, erosions of our personal liberty. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
No one can explain to me or give me any evidence at all that confining the entire population to their homes will actually save a single life. There isn't any such evidence. If you look at all the places where the coronavirus has broken out, it's been dealt with in many different ways by many different countries. There is no pattern whatsoever.
Current measures must remain in place for at least the next 3 weeks. We've just come too far, we've lost too many loved ones, we've already sacrificed far too much to ease up now, especially when we're beginning to see the evidence that our efforts are starting to pay off.
I can confirm today that for the first time we are past the peak of this disease.
The dramatic economic effect of the lockdown was laid bare tonight, with figures showing that the UK economy shrank by more than a fifth in April. That's the largest monthly contraction ever recorded in our first full month in lockdown.
There's been a dramatic drop in the number of people being seen by cancer specialists during the pandemic. NHS England figures show a big fall in cancer referrals by GPs in April this year, down 60% compared to 2019. Urgent breast cancer referrals saw an even larger drop, down by 78%.
In the early days, there was this false dichotomy between, well, we can just hunker down for a little while at some cost to the economy, and then we'll be fine. I think that was a mistake.
Another full national lockdown is not yet on the cards, but members of the Prime Minister's circle are clear. We're back to where we were in February and March, I was told.
The policy of lockdown is a thoroughly inhumane policy, which is due to one-track minds that can only think about deaths and not about life.
If you want to have first world public services such as the NHS, you need a first world economy that can generate the wealth to pay nurses and doctors, to pay teachers, but also to fund their pensions and keep people employed.
There will be some differences compared to March, and these measures, above all, will be time limited.
We're going to go back instead to a regional tiered approach.
We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as a primary means of control of this virus. Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems that we may well have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may well have at least a doubling of child malnutrition. Remember, lockdowns just have one consequence that you must never, ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer.
The United Kingdom has become the first country in the world to approve the coronavirus vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech.
You're quite emotional about that.
Well, it's just, it's been such a tough year for so many people, and there's William Shakespeare putting it so simply for everybody that, we can get on with our lives.
We don't want to, as I say, to ban Christmas, to cancel it, and I think that would be frankly inhuman and against the instincts of many people in this country.
The general rule over human history is that once powers are yielded to the state at moments of crisis or emergency, it's never the case that the state, or very, very rarely the case, that the state hands them back.
In England, those living in Tier 4 areas should not mix with anyone outside their own household at Christmas.
Is there anything this government does that is based on the actual evidence that the official data provides us?
Is there anything?
They're just playing us for fools. It's all these like controlling games, isn't it? You can have Christmas, you can't have Christmas. If you're naughty, we send you to the naughty corner.
We have had lockdowns, and we've had 100,000 deaths, and we've had huge damage to our economy and the life chances of young people and our children's education. That strikes me as perfectly legitimate to say, was there another way of having gone about this?
I want every single one of my freedoms back, and I want every business back open, I want every child back at school, and you can't promise me that.
Well, you and I will be joining each other on the barricades to get our freedoms back.
Will you promise that?
Yes, Julia.
Grant Shapps, you promised you'd be on the barricades 2 months ago if we didn't get all of our freedoms back as soon as over 70s have been vaccinated. What time should I meet you at the barricades?
They're going to tell you, sorry, the vaccine isn't as effective as we thought it was going to be. So now you still got to wear your mask, still got to get contact traced, still have all the restrictions and social distancing, and still take your vaccine. And then what did you get out of all of this? You got a whole year where you weren't allowed to travel, your business was closed, they took your rights and freedoms, they forced a vaccine on you, and what happened? The same amount of people died, everything is the exact same, and now they're going to put you back on lockdown and bring it all the way till July of next year so they can do the same thing again. Bring you from July, August, and September, getting you off lockdown, but just to bring you back on lockdown again. You idiots haven't figured it out yet. It's a perpetual cycle that you never get out of. And it's a way to take your rights, your freedoms, close your business, take your wealth. Why? So you become dependent on government. Why? If you're independent, the government works for you like it's supposed to. If you depend on the government to give you a paycheck to feed your family every month because they closed your business on you, now the government doesn't work for you, the government rules you.